Hello there and welcome back to Satisfactory. Yes, we're back on Satisfactory once again, going to be continuing a single player playthrough on the 1.1 experimental branch. But first, it is Monday, so hopefully y'all had yourselves a great weekend this weekend, as well as I'd like to thank and welcome all of the newest subscribers that we gained over the last week and over the weekend. You guys are awesome, and also thank you to the people that have stuck with me thus far. You guys are also awesome. So, huge explosion over the last week. We had a major explosion in subscribers and viewers and all that kind of stuff. I know that's due to a different game, but that is still very, very awesome. And it's, thanks to you guys that we passed that 1,000 mark, a few weeks ago, and then now we're just blazing along as well. So again, huge thanks to you guys as well. All of the people that hit the subscribe button, the like button, watching the content and doing all the comments and stuff like that. It's very awesome. So huge thank you to you guys as well for all of that, because man, it has exploded, and I'm very, very happy to see something like that happen. So maybe we can get Satisfactory up to them levels. Get Satisfactory up to them levels of thousands of views and stuff like that. Maybe one day. But I'm still going to be primarily a Satisfactory streamer, stuff like that. But doing the other content, it does help. So, and it brings people to play to the wondrous world that is Satisfactory. But yeah, so if you weren't here last time or last week, we had gotten the cooling systems factory done. It took us all week, but we finally got it done, and it is a beautiful factory. I am quite proud of it. I'm very, very happy with that design and stuff like that, so it's very awesome. So anyway, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get on into it. Let's go. Alrighty, and here we are. 765 days since last incident. Woo! Haven't yet to die. Yes, I do have the creatures under retaliate, but that doesn't make it invalid. I'm kidding, of course. Right. So, like I was saying last time, we had finished the cooling system. We're actually going to take a train, so we're going to go this way. Sorry about the lag as well, especially if you're newer to the channel. You may not know that my CPU is definitely a bottleneck in my PC. It may be an i7, but it's a very low i7. Yeah. My computer is 13 years old. Well, I shouldn't say that all of it is, just the motherboard is 13 years old. The CPU is about 5 years old or so. I did replace the i5 that I used to have. When I first got this computer, it was an i5, so, and I've replaced the graphics card. It'll be my third one I'm on. Just because I started with like a 2 gig card, and then I started with a 2 gig card and 8 gigabytes of memory, went up to 16, and then 32, and then graphics card went up to 2, and then 4, and then 16. I don't remember. Anyway, sorry, I'm messing around. Let's get out there, shall we? So we need to do a lot of work. So, like I said, if you weren't here last time, we did do the cooling system factory, which I'm quite proud of. That thing is really, really nice. So we will be going by there here in a minute, because I'm going to edit timetable. We're going to go to the cooling systems export. Yeah, cooling systems export. Let's go. Save changes. Turn on self-driving. And let's take a little train trip, shall we? Yeah, we got a bit of a train journey ahead of us. It's a lot faster by train. But yeah, so the plan for today and for this week, well, not for today, but for this week, we'll start with that. And then the autosave, of course. The plan for this week is to start doing the electronics factories. We've got a ton of electronics factories like circuit boards, high-speed computers, supercomputers, adaptive control units, radio control units, and there's a few others and stuff like that that I'm not thinking of at the moment. But yeah, we're going to be doing all of our electronical component factories out in the grasslands, because the grasslands has a nice aesthetic when it comes to doing, I call them greenhouse factories, or, you know, windowed factories, basically, where you have your big old building and it's got a bunch of windows and stuff. I don't know if we'll exactly do that, but the grasslands does lead to a lot of, oh my gosh, the FPS is so bad. Sorry about that. Okay. The FPS is really bad around here, so as well, we're going to be going out to the grasslands. But first, before we do that, which is going to be today's episode, I don't know how far we'll get today. We shall see. Oh, we're not going by the other factory. Oh well. Oh, I completely forgot about that. I'll fix it later. Is going to be, what the heck? What are we waiting for? We're waiting on something. Interesting. Why was that train waiting there? I am not 100% sure. That's the only... Well, no, there is a ore train that does go in there as well. I don't know, maybe I was waiting for the train station to become clear. Yeah, we haven't reserved the intersection yet, so yeah, it was the copper sheet train. Okay, we're going to be following that copper sheet train out to the... out past the heat sinks factory, but yeah, we got the cooling systems factory done, and we're going to be building the rail lines out to the grasslands today. So it should be fun. A little bit different. So no factory building today, I'm pretty sure. There might not be any tomorrow as well, just because we've got so many rails to build to get out to the grasslands first. Because we got to get out there first, and then once we're out there, then we got to figure out where we're going to have our factories. Plan where we're going to have those a little bit, as well as then plan the rails to get out there, because we do need a loop that goes in the grasslands. We're going to have I've been planning on having a little loop that goes around kind of the outer edges of the grasslands somewhat. That way we can connect all of our, because a lot of those factories are going to be feeding each other, so it would be great if we have like a little kind of biome loop inside the grasslands there, as well as we need to partially build out to, or fully build out to, we're going to be building a couple different train lines. We also need to build out to the blue crater, so yeah, that's going to be fun there. But yeah, here is the heatsink factory, or the cooling system factory, sorry. The heatsink factory is back there. Yeah, this is the cooling system factory, so we're going to take a little look at this in case people haven't seen the inside of this one. And again, apologies for the lag. It's my CPU that's the bottleneck, so nothing I can do about that right now, because I definitely do not have the funds to replace it. Self-driving. Get rid of this train, but we're actually pretty far along. Once we get all electronic factories done, we'll be able to do phase 4 all at once, pretty much get all those factories built, because all we're missing is the electronical components of all of this. But yeah, you can see all of our cooling systems inside the train, they're all backed up. We're gonna head back out here, back outside. Yeah, the gates don't work for players still. And we're still waiting on the 1.1, actually the full release of 1.1. I'm hoping they fix a lot of the glaring issues with the experimental branch at the current moment, so we can go back to normal. Alright, so we're going to go up to the next floor. We're completely encased in here. So here we're at the next floor. This is the logistics floor that we've got. It's actually pretty nice in here as well. There goes our cooling systems. So basically the cooling systems hit here, and when they hit this little thing, it basically splits them off. This goes down to the train station, and if the train station is full, it then overflows up this and goes back outside to the sink waiting out there. There is a sink waiting out here on top of this elevator. Yeah. So now we'll go up to the top. So this also I'm quite proud of as well, because this blueprint took a lot of work, many hours to actually get the blueprint correct, which like I said, I'm quite proud of. but we blueprinted the blender into a big old blueprint of beams and lights and made it look really nice. Yeah, look at the blender doing its thing. These are all summer sleuthed, by the way, so this factory makes 100 cooling systems a minute. So if we actually head up this walkway here, I'm going to pull this out so we can see a little better. Yep, see, you can watch the robots do their work over here, as well as you can go up this little walkway following kind of the sloping of the machine, and you can see the liquid inside, as well as you can climb up here, get up on the ladder, and look at the liquid inside of the actual tank. I do love that the liquids are different colors based on the recipes you set. So good. Oh, and don't worry about this. So I put a power pole to kind of raise the power so it didn't look like it was such a big OSHA violation. But when there's summer slooped, well... and there's a reason they're underclocked like this. So I wanted 8 machines for this particular build, and you may have guessed why by looking at the outside, but yeah. There's a very specific reason for that as well. Oh, and we're going to cover something else. We had a couple of requests on how I did something, and I'm going to be showing that off as well, so give me just a moment to show off this factory, the inside of it, because, you know, the inside of these factories don't really get to get shown off all that much. Most of the time it's because I refuse to do lighting inside them because I'm too lazy. Yeah, let's go ahead and go back down to the first floor. You can hear the sink up above us. Very nice. Oh, there's a train. Hello, train. Yeah, so there's so if we go up here, we got this little kind of fans out, and then we've got our sink sitting up here. And this is where all the cooling systems end up when they get made. So if the train station is full, the cooling systems will get made in here and sent into the sink so that we can make tickets with it. Because cooling systems, sorry, are actually pretty expensive on the ticket points. They're decently up there. So yeah, this took a lot of work. This took us all week last week just to finish this factory. Took us from Monday all the way until Friday to finish it because it was such a big build, and the build plans kind of kept molding and changing. I mean, that's usually how I build factories anyway, but this one especially kind of kept molding and changing until we could get it right in the way I wanted it to look as well. So yep, basically, if you don't know what you're looking at because you're not a car guy or car gal, this is basically a supercharger and a blower with our butterfly valve. So basically inside of an engine, or inside of a car that has a supercharger and a blower, when you press on the throttle, I've got my little throttle piece here. So when you press on the throttle, that pulls down on this bar here, and it opens up the butterfly valve, allows air in to the air filter, and then that air then goes into the supercharger down below it, which that's what this is. Down here is supposed to, you know, kind of copy the real world example with the, you know, with a few touches and a few flares that I added in as well. And we got the butterfly valve on both sides because that's usually how these are set up. Now they don't usually have connections on both sides, but for symmetry I decided to connect it on both sides. And then this right here, the engine turns this. This is the sprocket for the supercharger, and this piece right here is supposed to represent a belt. And I put some lights on it to kind of pull it out, because otherwise it would not be really all that noticeable. I used beams for this particular rounded piece. These beams are very difficult to build because I had to have the sprocket already in place. And then what I did was, as you can see, this is a blueprint. What I did was I just pulled the beam to each little crevice, and it pulled that out as well, which actually looks pretty damn good. It worked out really well, and I'm quite happy with that. So yeah, basically this sprocket turns the supercharger. This belt, the engine drives the supercharger, and the supercharger builds boost builds boost for the engine and gives you a whole bunch of torque and horsepower. And spins the tires, blows your engine to pieces because you forgot to upgrade it. Just a lot of things. But yeah, and then based on the cooling system design, we designed the bottom portion where the trains are inside. We've got these pipes inside of here. These are just pipes with the copper finish inside of here, and then I've added a little extra like fans pulling air past the pipes to cool them down and stuff like that, and then the lights behind it to kind of show that there's pipes there. Otherwise you can't really see them because they're inside of here, and we've got lumen on, so lumen would have darkened those pipes and you wouldn't be able to see them. And then on the side we just got some extra flare just because I needed a flat wall to put gates up against and stuff like that, so I added a little bit of lighting into that. And then we've got the unpainted texture for most of the walls, actually for all the walls, and that kind of makes the light kind of reflect off of it quite well. And I had to add these to kind of bring out the lines of the actual supercharger as well. So yeah, pretty good. And I'm going to show you how so people were asking how I built these particular pieces, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did that. And I'll just show you the blueprint of this as well. But I'll show you exactly how I did these real quick in a blueprinter, just because had a few requests on it. We'll show you guys good and proper how to build stuff like that with the large pillar. The small pillars also work too, but they're rectangle shaped, so rather than cubed, and the cube shapes are a little bit easier to work with. So just real quick, we're gonna go ahead and pull out a blueprinter. Doesn't really matter because you'll want to blueprint this so you don't have to keep building it. And if you want to put your blueprinter anywhere, nice little tip here. Blueprinter, this also works with train stations and a few other items. Not all the machines work, I don't think. I think some of them weren't allowed to do that, but yeah, let's say you're placing it here and you get this surface is too uneven, or you got plants in the way, whatever, just hit the H key to lock it, and it allows you to place it, as well as since we're in 1.1, you won't be able to do this in 1.0, unfortunately, until 1.1 comes to the stable branch. But in 1.1 experimental, we're allowed to page up and page down, which moves the thing up, and then we can kind of nudge it whichever way you need, and then you can just place it. You can place it up in the air, and even though the legs don't touch the ground, it'll still work. And sometimes I don't even think it'll give legs. Yeah, it won't even put legs on it, which is hilarious. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and grab our architecture. I know we're pretty far into the video already, but it's Monday. We're getting our bearings for the next week. So I'm just going to use concrete pillars. You can use the big metal pillars. Any of these pillars pretty much will work for this. I've even used the big frame pillar stuff as well for this particular style of build, and we did that on the rod factory, which actually looked pretty good. I was actually quite happy with that as well, because it did give the look that I was going for. So anyway, we'll just use the concrete pillar because it's easier at the moment. But so basically, you're going to decide how you want it. Do you want to build the top half of the circle, the bottom half of the circle, or do you want to build the whole circle, the half circle? How big you want it? It all depends on what you want. And basically, the reason you will need to decide this is because of how many ticks you're going to want to place. So we're going to place down a big pillar just like that. It doesn't have to be centered, but because I'm OCD, it needs to be centered. It's got to be centered. Like this. Okay. So yeah, from there, what we're going to do is we're going to put this into Zoop mode, and like I said, this depends on where you place this starting piece, and how big the circle you want to make is. Will depend on. I might even go for a bigger blueprinter here. Yeah, the Mark 1's just kind of too small, isn't it? And as Ada always tells us, if you have a problem with the size of the blueprinter, that's a problem. That's a problem with you, not a problem with Fix-It. Which is basically the developers having a little fun with the player base, because the player base always complained about how small the blueprinters were, and it's just like so they added in a line from Ada talking about it is a problem with you, not a problem with Fix-It, if you have issues with the size of the blueprinter. Which, honestly, it's hilarious. It's a good joke, good on them for, kind of pushing back a little bit on that, because, Yeah, although I do agree the blueprinters are definitely way too small. You know, I'm willing to work with it, so. Anyway, let's say we're going to build a big circle, so we're going to go real big. We'll start on this side. Doesn't really matter which side you start on. We're going to go ahead and place one, and we're going to go ahead and zoop this, and I think we'll go to 5 or 6, maybe one of those. Oh, whoops, sorry. I completely forgot. Okay, so you're gonna place this on the side. Then you're gonna place one of these. What you're gonna do is you're gonna zoop it inside of this thing here. I believe so, or is it on the side? No, it's on the side, isn't it? Because you're gonna. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, it's on the side. Sorry. There we go. So you're gonna place it like that. So then you get a sideways one. I'm messing this all up. I'm just going to put that back in the center there. So now that you have a sideways one like that, you need 2 of these like this. So then you're going to zoop this out. So here we go. Oh, sorry, messing up my own method. Then you're going to zoop it out. We'll zoop it out 6. And then what you're going to do is you're going to delete this one right here. And then you're going to go place it back. This time, though, before you place it, you're going to hold control, and you see how it kind of rotates. It doesn't always rotate, but it's going to rotate like that usually. And what you're going to do is you're going to mouse wheel while holding control, and we're going to mouse wheel up one like that. And depending on how big your circle is how many rotations. So if your circle's really small, you're going to end up with rotating more in order to keep the circle. In order to keep the circle from overlapping way too much, unless you want a bunch of overlap. You know, that's how we did the sprocket, though. We had a bunch of overlap with a small circle, so it kind of looked like teeth. But if you don't want any teeth and you kind of want it smooth, you're going to end up doing more rotations. But because we're doing a big circle, we're going to go ahead and rotate it 1, like that. And then we're going to just place it. Here, we're going to go like this. And it looks like 6 is what I wanted, or 5 is what I wanted. Okay, so 5 is good. So it looks like 5 is kind of the limit there on that particular thing. I don't always remember all these tips. I use many different methods, and it's hard to keep them all straight. You know, it's just one of those things. And then we're just going to hold control again. You're going to see it rotates that 1 tick where we left it. So then we're going to rotate it again. And there's our circle starting to be formed. So this is how I did this particular build as well. How it looks. That's just how it looks so good. Of course, I used a slightly smaller circle, I believe. I think it was 4 rather than 5. But yeah, see, we're building half a circle here. And the reason I did it on the edge of the blueprint is so that I could go out as far as I wanted to. That's why I did the circle. Because you can always, once you save the blueprint, you can always replace the blueprint back in the blueprinter as long as you haven't put anything down into the floor or clear off outside of the blueprinter. You'll be able to place it back in the blueprinter and get it positioned the way you want it. So that when you load up the blueprint in the blueprinter, it loads up the way you want it to load. And where you want it to load and stuff like that. It does depend on the blueprint itself. So you can even, I think you can even put a smaller blueprint inside of a bigger blueprinter to then change that blueprint to a bigger size blueprinter. So when you load it up, it's inside of the bigger one. Never really done that myself because I always use the Mark IIs usually. I usually leave blueprinting alone until I get the Mark II. Because Mark I is just not great. But yeah, there's how I did the circle. So you can see it doesn't quite look like it. You can see the overlap is not quite as much as I had it. So you basically just delete the very outer one once the autosave goes. Oh, and let me fix that real quick. There we go, all fixed. Just fixing the fog there. But yeah, see, there's how I did the overlap. So there's a little more overlap, and it's a little more circle-shaped. Yeah, so if we actually go and take a look, if you get real close to this particular design, you're going to see the overlap that I have. And I actually liked this, the way this overlap looks so much that I decided to drag it all the way down using blueprints. Because my original plan was to place the first circle blueprint and then just go off the side of it and then just drag it down so you get a smoother rounded edge. But I liked this so much that I decided to have it all the way down. And of course, this particular one was a lot of fun to build too, this particular blueprint, because then it goes around the corner like that. And we can kind of show you that as well, how we did that, which was actually quite interesting, the way we managed to make it work. But I think it was only possible in 1.1. So if you're using 1.0, yeah, I mean, it's kind of possible, but kind of isn't at the same time. Like, there might be another way, but I can only develop that. I actually put together that method myself using 1.1 mechanics. So yeah, and there you go. So now that you have that, you can manipulate it however you want. If you want to leave the full circle, you can. So what I did for the interior circles is I just took out this particular portion of it. So there's that. So yeah, hopefully that helps, and then you can do archways and stuff with this. And as you can see, the further you go out, the more you get this gap as well. And if you want to fill this gap up, there is a way you can do that. It's not really all that perfect. It's kind of hard to do, but it can be done. So what you do is you take yourself a painted beam. It doesn't matter which beam. Just take yourself a beam, and we can go from. I'll probably go from here to here. Put it in freeform mode, like this, and then get yourself a beam. Put it on the edge. Hit the H key. Go 1, 2, 3.5 or so. It just depends on how long the beam is and where you placed it, stuff like that. That'll depend on how far you move it. But this one was 3.5 to put it roughly in the middle. It's not perfectly in the middle, but it's close. And then we're going to use the 1.1 and nudge it upwards, so it's above the beam. And then you just leave that beam there, and then you just pull it in. And see, then with that, you can then go a little bit further with your circle, and this is how people do the really big circles. Essentially, that's how they do the big stuff. And you can see it's not perfect because the overlap's kind of weird, but from afar it looks really good. Because yeah, and then you just keep putting beams in between. And you can build bigger circles in the game doing that as well. But again, you have to be very, very careful on how you do it. Otherwise, it's the edges and stuff are gonna look weird. But yeah, you can also do this. This is how I built the motor factory. Is I actually did this. I went. Sorry, I went every other one there. Yeah, we went. Did we go over every other one, or did we? No, it's not every other one. This was... Or was it every other one? Or did we do like that? We either did this, or we did every other one, I can't remember, but... Yeah, and you can kind of actually make gears like this, too. You can see we're starting like a toothy kind of gear looking piece. Yeah, pretty cool there. And then, like I said, I was going to load up that blueprint, which I don't remember. Anybody remember what number that was? I do not. Because if we scroll down, we have 20. How many? We have 23 blueprints for that cooling system factory. It got a little ridiculous. Oh, so there's my Okay, so there's my belt that I built. And it definitely wasn't that one. Let's try 20. No, that's part of the cogwheel. The progress of my factory is actually built into the numbers of this. Let's go 18. Actually, why am I doing this? Hold on. I'm stupid. Why don't I just go over here, hold out the F key, change to blueprint mode. Which blueprint? 17. Oh, it's close. So 17. And then we'll load up 17 in here. So basically I use that circle method, and then we go over to 17. And there it is. So yeah, just use that circle method, built the circle by using the same method. I mean, the circle is already partially built. I just put 2 blueprints together to make a full circle. And then I added 1 meter walls in here. So the 1 meter walls, the reason it looks circular is because the 1 meter walls are inside of those pillars, inside of those metal pillars. So you can see even the very top portion, and then you just take your signs and you just place them on the inside, like that. And then I just ran some small metal pillars all the way across, just like that. I just used this portion to put it in the exact center. I put a little painted beam to kind of give it a little more depth. Put another painted beam on the bottom and on the top, on the bottom and the top. And then what I did with this is I just grabbed this and I put it while holding control. I put the H key, lock it in, and then used 1.1 to nudge it down. Yeah, and then I put these little things to represent screws, the little beam connectors. To kind of represent screws. Sadly, you can't paint the beam connectors, otherwise I would have painted them red. I think that would have been that would have kind of sold the look even more. And then yeah, just put signs around it, just kind of do that. So the reason I did a sign and not a big billboard is because the big billboards, I have way too many of them already. As well as I didn't exactly want it the whole thing to glow all at once. I kind of wanted just the edging, which actually made it look much better in my opinion with the darker shaded inside. And of course when you get close to the flashlight, all the lumen goes away, but yeah. And then inside of here, this is just a fan, large vat, and I just pulled that. And like I said, this sprocket right here, this sprocket is made with the exact same circle as this. I'm just using the very center portion of pillars, so, and that's why it looks toothy, is because the overlaps are so the overlaps are so crazy. Didn't we load that up in 20? Yeah, the overlaps are so crazy that the edges of them stick out. I think it was blueprint 20. I mean, this is half of it, but yeah, you can see the overlap. It overlaps so much that it gave it a toothy look, which looks really good. It's a very good choice there. So yeah. And then let's go ahead and clear this blueprint and get rid of it because we're done with that. And then these, the end of the butterfly valves, I actually built these off camera after the episode was finished. I just threw these together real quick, based on the real design, of course. And it actually came out quite nice. These are actually concrete pillars so that I could paint them. I kind of wanted it to stick out, so I painted it red. Yeah, actually worked pretty good. And these are just the small metal pillars. These ones, you just place a thing here like this, and then you just hold control, rotate it, and have this on zoom mode. Delete the outer one, hold control. And holding control actually just pivots it for you sometimes. Yeah, and you can see I just keep going like that. And it makes it into a circle structure. So pretty simple, pretty easy design. Sorry that took me so long to explain. Good lord. Already 30 minutes into our video here. Looks like we're not getting anything done today after all. That's okay. We'll get some we'll get some rail done and then call it a day. Yeah. So yeah, I just I wanted to explain all that. Like I said, I got a few requests for those, so it's just kind of wanted to explain to some people how those are made and stuff like that. And you guys know how I am. People that have stuck around with me a long time know that I tend to over-explain things and I take forever to explain them. So my bad, but hopefully that helps out anybody that was looking to make those. But anyway, this is actually pretty simple. I'm out of power. There we go. These actually, to do this is actually pretty simple. These are actually blueprints here that don't have names apparently. Oh, there we go. It's a bridge type B 1 meter slope. This is just a 1 meter slope on top of with these particular. Use the inverted quarter pipes and then the half foundations to kind of tie it all together to make it look like arches. There's a reason I left this corner like this. This is because we're going to have a rail line sneak underneath here and go out to the blue crater out that way. So, man, this episode is such a mess. Apologies. Now this blueprint goes together really nicely if you have 1.1. If you have 1.0, doing blueprints like this on slopes and stuff, it's such a pain in the butt to get it to get it to where you need it. Especially if you have landscaping in the way, or have terrain in the way, I should say. Yeah, but with 1.1, we can just nudge that down. Which everybody will have access to 1.1 on the 10th of this month, so, you know, be patient. June 10th is when 1.1 is releasing, according to the developers, so... Alrighty then, and after a little bit of hard work, we finally made it out to the grasslands with our rail line. Actually wasn't too bad. I decided to use my overarch bridge blueprint. Sorry. Say that 3 times fast. Overarch bridge blueprint. Overarch. Okay, no, it's not working. I still got some supports to build here. I forgot. Anyway, we do have this this lovely bridge here that goes through the purple forest. I tried to keep as much of the forest as I could. Obviously, if with it being so dense, just, you know, when they were announcing that Call of Duty game back in 2013, just so dense. And now we got games like this that just have dense forests, just for fun, you know. I decided to leave as much as I could though, but some of it's so dense that when you blow up a piece just to get rid of it because it's in your supports or in your bridge or whatever, it tends to blow up a nice big swath. And I'm using snowballs, so the least amount of damaging ones. They will cut the least swath anyway. Some of this did get completely removed because we have a couple of quartz nodes over here, which you know, we could eventually use at some point. But yeah, so you can see our big old blower sitting at the top of the hill here. But yeah, so from here we just sloped down the 1 meter until I actually had it lower than this, but then I was just like, you know what? Why don't I just build it up higher, then I can have a longer bridge, you know? And the bridge will be good. It'll be right at the top of the forest. You'll be able to see it from certain distances and stuff like that. We could have gone even higher, but I think this is a pretty good height for this. Plus we got 5 sections in here, which is just beautiful. It just fit. In the name of Todd Howard, it just works. But yeah, so beautiful, nice, beautiful overarching bridge here as well, which works really darn good. Going over the top of the forest here, out to the grasslands, and it's a nice straight stretch for a while that trains will be up to speed when crossing this bridge. So very, very nice. We still need to do some placing of the signals and stuff. Get those kind of set up so that this rail line is complete, at least up until that point, up until the end of this bridge, and we got out to the grasslands. So Yeah, looks like this week we are definitely going to be working on those factories. I don't know how many we're going to get done per week. Obviously, this one took us all week to do that, and the other one took us half a week. It depends on the factory and how complex the design is. Some of it's very complex like this, and it takes all freaking week just to do it. And then some of it's not as complex, and then it only takes about 3 days, you know? And then some factories are so non-complex that they take us a day or two to finish. Like the motor factory didn't take us, like, what, 2 days? And then the one factory, the automated wiring factory, took us 1 day or 2 days, something like that. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna get rid of this. This was here because there was no. Oh, let me remove this one as well. There was no power poles over here. Any way to fly for power to get like screenshots and stuff. So I put that down. Anyway. We've wasted enough of your guys' time. I know we're at the end of our episode here. So we got done what I wanted done, at least. That is very, very good. I think this is about the middle between the two intersections. It's short enough distance that I just wanted to put a couple signals in. Yeah, that's pretty good. We'll call that good there. Now I will need a 10-car train to map out the distance. I mean, what we could do is measure this out. Hold on. Snowball. Throw it in there. Oh yeah, I didn't clean this up at all. Have to get rid of that one, unfortunately. I thought I cleaned this up. And because I wasn't doing a whole lot of blueprint work or a whole lot of extremely complicated design work, I didn't crash this episode, so that's good. I mean, half of it was, or most of it was us just, you know, messing around with blueprints. But yeah, people wanted to know, so I wanted to give them the information. So yeah, we didn't get a whole lot done, but we did get a rail line done, so you know, there's that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we got 6, 7, 8. Okay, so then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll put our signal here. There we go. Then we're going to put our signal down at the bottom of the bridge. Or down at the bottom of the hill, right at the bridge. I need to make sure they fully build. Sometimes they don't want to fully build. I was going to go underneath this archway, but I couldn't quite make it with the 1 meter slope. So, which was actually good though, because coming down and going that far down and then going right back up to get into the grasslands. I mean, we still have to climb a hill to get into the grasslands properly. You know what I was thinking about doing too? I don't think it'll work because it's on a slope, but I was like, what if we did like an intersection? Right before these two little arches, and then have one go left, one go right. I think that'd be pretty cool. But then it's just like, yeah, but it's also on a slope. That definitely would not work. So, yeah, that makes sense. But hey, at least we're out to the grasslands. That's what matters, man. Because it's been a long ride out here for me, anyway. So put it right there. Wait for the autosave. Okay. Yeah, I want to go right before the bridge because I don't. The next connection is right here. But the reason I put the connection so far back is because we have a little bit of grass in here, unfortunately. So I wanted to kind of cover that up, or not cover that up, but I didn't want the grass to be super noticeable. So I was just like, it's fine. But like I said, I wanted my 5 sections, and I was not going to let a little bit of grass poking through my foundation to you know, stop that from happening. Then we slope up, and we level out, and we're now in the grasslands. Woo! We finally made it after all these hours. We finally made it out to the grasslands. We're going to be putting factories all over the place. The grasslands is so big, that's why I'm like, we'll just put all of our electronics out here. All of our electronic factories, every single one of them is going to be out here, including one of the Phase 4 items. Maybe, no, 2 of the Phase 4 items are definitely going to be out here. The assembly directory systems and the nuclear pasta is going to be out here as well. Because there's a place in the grasslands here that I want to put it, that I put it in the... that I definitely did put it inside of the dedicated server, and we're going to be doing that again, especially with my new method for building spheres using 1.1 mechanics. But with that, though, that is going to be it for this episode of Satisfactory. So yeah, next time we're probably gonna continue a little bit of rail and then we're probably going to be planning on where we're going to put some of these factories as well. Definitely want to get those factories going as well. Definitely need to get those going. We're going to create a train from this side, a train of factories from this side of the grasslands to that side of the grasslands over by where the void is. Not in a perfect line or anything, just kind of just out that way. So we're going to go like circuit boards to computers, to supercomputers, to, you know, assembly directory systems, to high-speed connectors, to, stuff like that. But they're just going to be placed randomly. And this is going to be the start of the loop, the start of, well, I guess, yeah, start of the grasslands loop. We're going to loop around this way, and we're going to touch right on the edge of the void. We're going to have a rail line that goes all the way around and then back down to here. And it's just going to be this big circle with factories on the inside, on the outside, rail lines that cut straight through to go to factories and whatnot. But yeah, it's basically going to be like a big old highway with a bunch of factories in the middle of it for the most part. We'll see what happens. Just big plans, no actions yet, so nothing set in stone. So we don't know. We don't know what we're going to run into, what kind of challenges and whatnot. So anyway, like I said, though, that is going to be it. So I do hope you enjoyed. Freaking love that, man. Oh, and before you go, I would like to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of the investors you can see here. Seriously, thank you. You guys are awesome. It is much appreciated. And until next time, I guess it's a goodbye.